Hey everyone, Dr. Jason Pape, your chiropractor extraordinaire, back at you to bring you education, information, motivation, inspiration on the regular. Last pod, we did some motivation inspiration. We're going to kind of build off of that one and do a motivation inspiration pod again. Again, I am a chiropractor, functional medicine doctor, and my goal here is to help people be the best versions of themselves, whether it's physical or emotional or financial, whatever it may be. And part of that work I've done this for many years on Facebook, people have followed me doing for these things as well, is how people give people those positive ways to help bring better manifest things into their lives. So last time we talked about why the word not is not great, that you need to frame things when you bring them out to the universe or to God or whatever it may be in a positive statement, not in a negative of a negative. So go back and watch that if you have not. But today we're going to talk about the law of attraction a little bit more and why it doesn't really work. And you're like, well, I thought you just talked about manifesting, which is, attracting things in your life you want. Yeah, the law of attraction, on its face works. But the fact is, what is the things that make it not work? So basically it's about, if you focus on the things you want, they'll come to you. And that is true. But it's a very narrow scope of that. Because there are plenty of people that are positively, think positively, say the right positive words, do their positive affirmations, talk positively, use the right wording to say what they want. They know what they want. They even have it down to a T about the things they want, right? I want to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to do it by this date. I know how I'm going to, these are my trainer, all the things I'm going to do. And I'm going to look like this and I'm going to be in this swimsuit. Great. All those positive things. But for some reason, sometimes these people go off the rails. They don't get to their goal. I tell people this too on the New Year usually. It's like everyone makes these New Year's resolutions, right? How many of you, though, have had the same resolution year after year after year? I'm sure many of you, if I asked you to raise your hand, if I could see you right now, will probably raise your hand and say there's probably plenty of times you've had the same resolution year after year or numerous times. And the fact is, why? Well, because you don't finish it, right? You have all the good intentions on 12/31. Right, but on 1/1, you hit the ground, maybe you're running with it, and then by 3/1, you're off track or something, and something's got in the way. And there's a yeah, but there's an excuse, whatever it may be. But the fact is, you keep coming back to it. So when I tell people too, is like, well, change your resolution, or to have a real come to Jesus moment, if you will, and look at what's your resolution and why are you failing every time. Well, I can tell you a lot of times while we fail at anything that we do, we put our minds on a regular basis. And so many people out there are always trying to lose weight, right? And there's plenty of people that whether it's you or someone near you, that's always on this weight loss journey. What happens? But you may be as positive, have all the tools in front of you. But what are the things that are getting in your way? Because your subconscious mind is extremely powerful. And you can consciously believe something. You can consciously want something. You can consciously crave something. You could talk about this amazing light. But if your subconscious just doesn't believe you, it ain't going to work. So let me explain. So let's talk about the subconscious again. I've talked about this before. We'll talk about it again. This is something we're going to come back to a lot in many videos. Whether we're talking about anxiety or we're talking about manifesting or other things, anything in between. Your subconscious mind is like a hard drive of your computer. It is always running in the background, and it is constantly monitoring your system. It is taking everything you've seen, heard, overheard, whatever has ever happened in your life is always stored there, whether you think it's accessible or not, because the brain is trying to make sense of its, environment to understand when you're safe or not. That's really what we're here for. That's really a fight or flight type of thing. That's what it's about. And Rest and Digest is about assessing our environment, knowing if we're safe or not, so we can survive. If you want to go back to the core of it, that's what we are. That's how we evolved over thousands and thousands of generations. Okay, even though we live like this, and there's no tiger chasing you anymore, or wars, down the street in most places, you're not built like this. We're still built like this, but yet we don't live like that. And our subconscious mind is part of that piece where it's constantly looking to try to make you understand its environment and assess it. So your perspective is based on your experiences. Right? So whatever happened in the past helps you shape your perspective. And your perspective then is shaped your next experience too. Because you bring yourself to every experience you have. And then your perspective is what makes you have a different version of it. So for example, we could all go to the movies together. And we all see the same movie. And maybe I loved it. And maybe my Guy Quinn over there hated it, and maybe the person in the middle next to us that went with us didn't care one way or the other. Well, why is that? Right? We all saw the same movie. We didn't see 3 different movies, right? No, but we are all different people with different perspectives that we thought. So there's different reasons why we like it or didn't like it. You ever have an actor or actress and you see them and for some reason, whatever it is, you just don't like their face. It just bothers you. You don't know why. But subconsciously, there's a reason why. Maybe they reminded you of someone from when you were a little kid that was mean to you. Maybe there was a character they played in the past you forgot about that you didn't like, that character didn't resonate. Whatever, right? That's a subconscious response. You're not thinking about it. Your brain is just giving you a reaction. And our subconscious mind reacts to things, whether it's real or imagined. So I'm going to ask you all to imagine or picture a lemon. And if you've never tried a lemon, well, you might be lost in this. You're going to take a lemon. Just picture a lemon in your hand. You're going to take that lemon and you're going to cut it in half. And as you take that one half, you see the juices dripping down a little bit. You can smell it, a little bit of that citrusy, lemony, sour tartness in the air. And then you decide, you know what? I'm going to take a big bite of this lemon. My face just did it. I don't know if you saw it, but you ever get that pucker, that feeling in the back of your mouth? Maybe you'll get that before you eat a hot wing or something. Well, if you see what I'm talking about, right? You felt a physical response to something that wasn't there, right? Because with the lemon in this instance, unless you went and got a lemon while you're watching my podcast and cut it and then sucked on it, was not there, right? But yet you had a physical response. So your subconscious mind reacted to something, whether it was real or imagined, to give you a physical response. You can see how our subconscious beliefs and how we talk about ourselves can manifest negative things in our life, like anxiety. That's a completely different video we'll do in the future. So definitely keep an eye out for that one. However, we're talking about manifesting things in our lives. So these beliefs are sitting there, whether we realize it or not, and they've come on and been there and layered on for years. And a lot of those beliefs were put in by experiences. Our parents are a big reason. Even sometimes their own, genetic crap has been stored epigenetically. Their amygdala has been handed down to you. It's a longer story. But the fact is that we have these systems of beliefs that, yes, they're supposed to be protected, but really are more detrimental than anything in this stage of the game based on the way we live, that get in the way. So imagine you're, 7 years old and dad came home and yelled at you. Well, you got really upset, you cried, whatever it may be, and you're like, I don't know why he yelled at me. I didn't do anything. Maybe I'm just a bad kid. Maybe and you're trying to figure, your brain's trying to figure out what did I do to get in trouble here? And maybe it's like, oh, maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe he doesn't love me. I'm not worthy of love, whatever. Your brain tells you a story. Not even your conscious, your subconscious is telling a story. And the next time something like that happens, it goes, oh, that's like this, whether it's with dad or with someone else. And then you start telling the story about your belief systems, about who you are. All right. And you just start making these negative beliefs, these stories that are there, always being told to yourself. Now, dad may have just had a bad day. And you came out and he just didn't want to deal with the kids that day and he yelled at you. Or maybe dad's an asshole. I don't know. The fact is, something happened. It had nothing to do with you. But in that moment, you're a 7-year-old kid. What do you know? So that you have this negative belief now. And then that is built on for years. Now, you might look back at 18, 30 years old and go, I remember that thing happened with my dad and, it was bad, but that had nothing to do with me. He was just a grumpy man or whatever. He had a bad day. I was just a kid. I didn't go any better. That's great. Your critical mind sees that and can make a logical piece. But that subconscious experience is there because the emotional tether of that moment and everything that's built over it has been cemented into your subconscious. And the critical mind can't clear subconscious beliefs. And these subconscious beliefs are there whether you realize it or not. I'm using this as an example. But yet, why do I keep failing at X, Y, Z? Well, I keep manifesting. I'm doing all the work. I'm doing all the attraction. I'm focused on it. I got pictures on my wall. I'm saying it to myself every day, and it's just not coming. Right? Well, that subconscious mind gets in the way. That negative belief that you may have about money, about weight, about whatever it may be. There may be something about weight that is protective to you, and you don't even know it. Right? There may be this belief that is scarcity consciousness or this negative money beliefs, right? And then you want the money. You need the money. You're manifesting. You're focused. I'm going to attract that money. I know the secret. I read the book and everything. And the money doesn't come. Now, what happened? We'll talk about the timetable part of that in a minute, but well, maybe there's a negative belief you have that you didn't know you had that's blocking. And that subconscious is pretty strong. And things will bounce off of it no matter what you consciously want if the subconscious truly believes something else. So when I say the law of attraction doesn't work, this is what I mean. The law of attraction works when the negative beliefs in your subconscious are not there to block you. So a lot of times, if you're trying to do this work and you're doing all the things right, yet you still can't get where you want to go, maybe there's some things you don't know about, or there's a negative belief that you need to go work on. So there's many different things that come about from a belief standpoint where you need to go work on these negative beliefs. All right. So how do you do that? Well, the way I just talked to you, traditional talk therapy is not going to help this. It doesn't mean it can't help you identify some things, which is not great. It can't help you with strategies. But in general, when it comes to manifesting, you need more than just a coach to say, yeah, go get it. Here, write this statement, do this thing, put the vision board. I'm going to help you every step of the way. That may work for some people, or maybe it's not sustained if that person's not there to help you every step of the way in the future. Or maybe just go back, right? Hey, they helped me lose 20 pounds or 30 pounds. And then, 6 months later, because I'm not working with that trainer anymore, I went away. Because you need that discipline underneath, which maybe wasn't built. Someone did it for you. They were a crutch. But I digress. Doesn't mean you don't use a trainer. I'm just saying that sometimes we need more from a subconscious standpoint to maintain that on your own. It's one thing to get them help you started, but if you haven't changed the underneath belief, you may go back to where you were. So anyway, because it wasn't your confidence, it was their confidence that got you there, if that makes sense. So understand that. How do we work on that? Well, there's different practitioners that work on subconscious belief. There are plenty of therapists out there and psychologists do some other pieces, not just traditional talk. When it comes to these kinds of things like Psych-K and EMDR and hypnosis, and there's so many things you can do to pull out the stuff by the root. Even there's certain types of neurofeedback that I do that does that too. There's many different ways to help root out from the root, but sometimes you need to do that kind of work. So if you're doing this manifestation and you're working so hard, but you're not working on the negative beliefs underneath, you may not get where you want to go. You may still, but you may not. And again, it's always important to frame your things positively. We talked about that also. So remember, the law of attraction needs to respond to positive thinking. So if you're doing the law of attraction and let's say you don't have a negative belief, but the way you frame your focus is about having things you don't want, not having the things you don't want versus having the things you want and knowing what that is specifically, that's important too. Now, the last thing I'll mention is timetable. So one of the other reasons why people sabotage their manifestation, why the law of attraction doesn't work for them, is because they expect it to happen when they want it to happen. Let's say, you're late with rent and you need that $1,000. I don't know where it's coming, Lord. Please just bring it to me. I'm going to do everything I can to manifest it. All right? And it doesn't come in the time you need it. Well, guess what? And you're like, I didn't get here. Where is it? I didn't get it. Cancel what you just said to the universe. Remember, you have to put things out there with some intention, but also sometimes have a freedom to let them go and know they'll come to you as long as you're truly believing this in the time they take to come to you. All right. The second you start looking at that timetable and saying it didn't happen in enough time or it hasn't happened yet, it must not be working, you've just canceled everything you've done. So the law of attraction's got a few pieces to it, all right, for it to truly work. One, you need a clear goal, what you want. It has to be stated positively. You have to talk about and have some finite truth of what that is. And you also have to make sure there's no negative beliefs underneath that are stopping you. And there's other pieces to it as well, because sometimes it's about letting it go. When you're so tied to the outcome of something, that timetable, that it has to happen, if you just are so focused on that, you're not really letting the universe work. You have to kind of like put it out there, set the intention, and then let it go. And leave it, give it to God, give it to Creator, give it to the universe, and just to let it go and unburden yourself. And it can come back to you as long as we stay in a positive timetable. We're not looking for we're not in positive space. We don't have these negative beliefs underneath. We don't worry about the outcome coming when the outcome comes. We just trust that it will come at our highest and best good when it decides to get here. And hopefully it gets here when you need it. Or your body or the universe feels you need it the most. So some kind of important things to think about, right? I know I just loaded a lot on you, so I want to really just absorb that for a second. While you're absorbing that, I think you should hit that like button, because putting out good comes back to you, right? Hit the subscribe button because you don't want to hear more of what I'm going to say in the future. And maybe share it out. Give it to someone who may find this interesting. Put on your page, probably in a message in a post, whatever, put some eyeballs, shove them in front of the video. Let's get some more people looking at this stuff. So remember, not that the law of attraction can't work. It's that on its face, it's just not enough just to know what you want and hope that it attracts to you because you're focused on it. We talked about where energy goes, where energy flows, where focus goes. But you have to also make sure that there's not things underneath that are in the way, that we're framed properly, and we're not using negative statements, meaning I don't want something versus a thing you do want, and that we're very clear about that thing we want is, and to let it go and understand that you can't be attached to the outcome, that it will come to you in some way, good shape or form, and that it will come whenever it wants to come, no matter when you want it to come, and it should come in your highest and best good. And sometimes it's very important to keep saying those things. So you do these positive affirmations, things like that. You always want to manifesting in your highest and best good. So this is why when I talk about the law of attraction maybe not working, these are the pitfalls people aren't seeing. This is not telling you this in the secret. All right. This is not telling you this. A lot of these coaches that you see out there maybe not telling you this piece, partially because they don't necessarily know how to work on those things that I talked about. Or they think that this is maybe just enough, and it doesn't mean it can't be for you. Maybe you don't have that negative belief stopping you from losing the weight. But sometimes you need that trained professional who really understands subconscious and how to help you work through it, whether it's through hypnosis or Psych-K or EMDR or brain spotting, or, there's so many techniques out there to help you clear crap, whatever fits best for you. And again, a lot of times it's just making sure that you are clear of intent, you let go of an outcome, and you're willing to let it come to you when it comes to you, and they'll have those negative beliefs, believing that you don't deserve those things. So I hope this was all helpful. I hope you guys have been following me through here. And again, if you want to go back and see my video I did about the not thinking, why not, definitely check out that link for episode 4 of our pod. We'll definitely be doing more of these in the future. So you never know what you're going to get every week with me. But again, 2 weeks early, got some inspiration, motivation. But again, I'll be here bringing you education, information, motivation, inspiration on the regular. I am Dr. Jason Pape, and I will see you all soon. Have a happy, healthy, and blessed day.